Our first movie, Scene of the Crime, produced at MGM in 1949, has never been shown in our 14 years of film noir at the Egyptian Theater, and followed by Reign of Terror, also known as The Black Book, that was released by Eagle Lion in the same year. 2 studios, 1 low budget, 1 Tiffany, 2 film noirs. But the other thing that both of these films have in common is our special guest. And the term icon is used rather loosely, and particularly in this town. However, our guest, who is featured in both of these films, started his career back in the theater on Broadway, the Old Federal Theater. He has literally worked with everybody from Orson Welles to Alfred Hitchcock to Charlie Chaplin to Jim Renoir and everyone in between, from hanging off the Statue of Liberty to St. Elsewhere, and he is aptly described by a contemporary critic as a national treasure. We were very lucky to have him here tonight. Please welcome our special guest, Mr. Norman Lloyd. Please. That part took you a little bit back to your Jersey City roots. You're on.
Yup, yup, yup.
What did you think of that after, what, 62 years? You told me you hadn't seen it.
I thought it's one of the best performances I ever gave. I was delighted with myself. Because it's an unusual experience, because I've seen some others I've given in the past, and I wish I could buy up the films. I've really given some bad performances, but I love this one. Yeah.
I thought this was a good picture. It held up well.
Oh, it was a very good picture, written by Charlie Schary, who was one of the best writers in Hollywood, by the way. He's got some wonderful credits. Mm-hmm. And you know, the amazing, it's not amazing, the admirable thing is the cast. You know, those actors, so good, every one of them. For example, you had Tom Powers in there, acting one of the...
He was umpire, the bookie guy that took him in when they were trying to figure out who was robbing them. And,
yes, now it wasn't much of a part, it wasn't a big part, he did it beautifully. But you know, he was one of the leading actors of the Theatre Guild and was an actor who appeared in the original productions of Eugene O'Neill, Strange Interlude, and other O'Neill plays. A remarkable record in the theatre. But he came out here and there weren't the great parts, I guess. But you had him in the cast. I was very amused by one actor who came up and said, "We're ready to go in a few minutes," and that's all he had. This, I recognized, is Richard Irving, who became the head of all the television programs at Universal, MCA. Top job. I guess he gave up acting and became a very good executive. A wise man. I love the picture because, you know, it was made at the height of the golden days of Metro. As you mentioned earlier, it was the transition from Louis B. Mayer to Dore Schary, who is now the head of the studio. I shouldn't tell these tales out of school.
But we want you to.
But at the age of 97, I think I can do it and still get away with it. After my first scene, oh, this is very naughty, I enjoy this. After my first scene, which I thought was very good, I was summoned by Dore Schary to his office, who he now occupied the top executive office at Metro. I'd known Dore I had played tennis on his court, which was a way of advancing my career. And he summoned me for lunch, just the two of us. And I remember we had lamb sandwiches at lunch because Dore loved the way his personal cook at home did the lamb. And so he wasn't brown bagging it, but he brought the lamb to the studio and had them make sandwiches of this lamb. Now, how many years ago did we make this picture?
62.
Nothing. And so we sat down, and Dore told me he felt he'd like to give me some readings for this character of Sleeper. So I enjoyed the lamb sandwiches. I was very fond of Dore, but when he gave me these readings, I realized why he was the top executive at Metro, not an actor. So I went back to the set and proceeded as I was doing. But it was interesting that Dore seemed to be concerned with the way I was playing this part. And you know, I liked the way I played the part. And the notices were great. So it was a very curious experience in relation to this picture, which had very good actors, Van Johnson, and you know, I must tell you a story about Van Johnson. I was doing a play called Pony. It was here, it was in town. And the people who were producing the play asked if maybe, since I was under contract to Metro, could I ask them to help in publicizing the play? And I said I would try. I called the Metro publicity department, got some assistant there, and told him that could he possibly help in publicizing this play about Pony. And he said, what are you doing? I said, a play about Pony. He said, about what? I said, about Pony, a play by Ben Jonson. He said, oh, is Van Johnson doing a play? However,